is a nonprofit organization that focuses on youth of color and of low income and basically gives them the tools to break into tech and the gaming industry. Gameheads is not a game club. It's not a game club. It's definitely for people who want to put their heads down and get to work. I went in there thinking, oh, it's just going to be an extracurricular thing, just something I can put on my resume. It'd be really cool. But I learned that it will reward you. The more you work, the more stuff you'll get out of it. That's what I've learned.
The goal of the program is really to prepare students for college, career, and civic life, right? So we want to create the next generation of game designers and game developers, but we're invested in the student as a whole person.
For me, Gameheads was the perfect organization. It's a good way to give back to your community. As an African American, I felt that it was my obligation to pay it forward, but to also help introduce young men and women of color into video games, but also like talk to them about the roadmap to enter the gaming industry because it can be overwhelming.
When I started doing journalism in games, I just assumed because the video game industry was big in the Bay Area, it would just look like the Bay Area, right? And then when you get into the industry, you realize that that's not what it looks like at all. When you look at the diversity pool, it's really a little less than 20%.
Damon is fearless, and he's not afraid to take on any challenges because diversity and inclusion means taking risks. It means doing things that might otherwise feel uncomfortable. He doesn't have to go through many rounds of red tape and hyper-analysis. He just goes for it. When organizations like 2K and organizations like 31st Union or anyone who partners with him to see how fearless he is and how he makes it work, he's created a pipeline from Gameheads all the way into game development and tech. And you start seeing the results actually take place in the real world.
One of my biggest things is actually starting my own studio and really just making games that are true to the experiences that I knew and grew up on. Seeing a lot of games that are played by a lot of Black people and my friends and family, and growing up with just playing games all the time, and not really seeing the true experiences of that, and then that's not really what we fell in love with and the idea of it, and giving it that full realism and just that full connection and experience.
The main thing that I love about the program is its project-oriented nature, because I've been sitting in class and reading lectures and whatnot, but I've always wanted to know what was applicable, what could I actually apply to the real world, and Gameheads very much throws you into the deep end of getting your hands dirty.
The pedagogy that we use is called student-centered learning, and we're gonna give you autonomy, but there's gonna be a day where you're gonna have to present. So everybody has to have their builds done by next Saturday. So it's all right, if it's not done, everybody knows it's not done. We're gonna get on your case about it. Your game is fine, okay? The important thing is just to get it online. It's all right, dude, just put it out into the world. Let everybody see your wonderful video game experience. We even go so far as to present your game in front of industry professionals from 2K, right? Or industry professionals from anywhere. And if the game looks great, great. If the game looks bad, don't look at me, right? It's just sink or swim. We encourage them to go ahead in the corner, work on something, break it, mess it up, fail. We'll make fun of you a little bit because the character doesn't it's like walking and he's underneath the ground, but at the end of the day, you're just learning.
Damon is like an uncle. He might, get on your helmet a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's some genuine, true love.
I'm a drop kick, Jonathan. Jeez. I'll be there next week. Whatever, you said that last week. Kylie, you two, get out of the dungeon. Josh, get that done. Who else do we got in here? Casey, hit your brother up, man.
People would say that beat you up for a lot of things, but I see it as a benefit. Because when I began, I wouldn't say I was the best student. He definitely got on me a lot, and he definitely whipped me into shape. So I gotta thank him for that, honestly.
The thing that I love most about it is just the foundations of game development that I learned that I wouldn't have learned elsewhere. Even in school, I was in college while I was in Gameheads, and a lot of the things that I learned from Gameheads, I hadn't learned in school.
This is where people will go to be trained in game design. I think the idea is that we just want to create a creativity lab. It's just that our niche is game design, development, DevOps, virtual production, that sort of thing.
It's a really in-depth and really personal and really caring thing that they have here, which goes beyond, I'm going to teach you for money. We're teaching them to change the world, and we're teaching them to create equity that'll make the industry better, that'll make their communities better. And it affects everything. It affects how communities thrive, crime rates. You know, when I was young and I didn't have any opportunities, I was dabbling. You know, I was 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And it wasn't until I got an opportunity at Disney that I saw that there was something greater for me, that I had a lot to lose all of a sudden. And so that really changed my perspective on the world. I went from being really angry and hopeless to hopeful and happy. And I've never looked back. So Gameheads is that for all these students, I believe.